Hey folks, I just wanted to give you a quick supplement for our recent significance testing, quick tutorial on how to use a TI-84 to calculate p-values. So on the screen here, you have we have the do portion of the check your understanding problem from lesson 9.2 day 2. We were seeking to test these hypotheses, either p is equal to 0.5 or is different from 0.5. And we calculated a test statistic in class. We used table A to get our p-value that we remembered to multiply by 2 because we had a two-tailed different from test. If you want to use a TI-84 either to verify or expedite your work a little bit, here's how you're going to do that. So in your TI-84, we have our stat menu right here. And we're going to use our stat menu. We're going to scroll over here to tests. And of course, here's why we have been in the plan portion, identifying what kind of tests we're running. We are running a one proportion Z test right here. So let's go ahead and choose number 5, a one proportion Z test. And I already have the values preloaded in here, but we were running, remember, the null was that p is equal to 0.5. The sample statistic was 40% out of a sample of 180, so 72 over 180. 72 said, yes, and then 180 total sample. We want to run a not equal to null, so we want to change this to a not equal to. This isn't going to be an option on everybody's TI-84s. But many of them do have that. If you don't have this option, remember it's going to default to a left-tailed test, and you'll have to still remember to multiply by 2 to get that two-tailed test to get your final p value. But now you've got the option to either calculate or to draw your final answer. If you just simply choose calculate, it's going to provide you with the same z-score we calculated by hand to negative 2.68, and it'll give you that same p-value, 0.0072 that we got after we doubled the table A value. It gives you your p-hat just to, make sure you put in the right values there. The other option that you saw obviously was number 5 again. We had this draw option, which is kind of handy. You get the picture that we drew, so you can see you got your two tails that are shaded. Total still gives you the same p-value, but in this case, it actually provides you with the image as well, which is kind of nice. So once again, whatever works best for you works best for me. But if you're a TI-84 user, remember to identify all of the values you're using in that syntax as to what they are. Not just writing the syntax, but of course, you're going to need to identify what values you're putting in and why. All right, next. Let's look at the check your understanding problem from lesson 9.3 day 2. Here was our 2 proportion significance test. And so just to brush up on it, we were looking for a difference, if whether preschool reduced the later need for social services. So again, we have our do portion transcribed that we did in class. We had a z-score, we had a left-tailed test because we were looking at whether the control group in red was bigger than the preschool group in blue, which was, getting our less than sign. Remember, if you could have switched preschool and control, in which case the inequality sign here would shift as well. So this was, we can also do this on a calculator, but this was how we did it in class. We did it by hand using table A to get our p-value. But let's go ahead and check out how to use it on our TI-84. So what we've got, again, hit the stat button, toggle over here to tests. Again, we've been doing a 2 proportion z-test. We've been identifying that since the beginning. Here's the reason why. Number 6, what you'll want to do is you'll want to go ahead and identify, in this particular case, you're not putting in p-hat or anything. You want to put in x1 was what, 38 out of 62. And then X2, again, I'm choosing control to be my X2, preschool to be P1, but we've got 49 out of 61. Oop, I messed up here. We got to do 62. And now, again, just choosing the appropriate inequality sign to go along with the 1s and 2s you chose. I chose a less than here. And if you want to get fancy about it, you can change colors, right? It's not too many from which to choose, but you know, what color? I drew it in green here, so let's go with green. So we can choose the draw, and it gives you your normal curve and the shaded region, the rejection region, as we talked about in class. And then that p-value 0.0102 definitely matches what we came up in class using table A. All right. So that, I hope you, got a little bit out of this, a quick little primer for how to use a TI-84 to run your significance tests.